Hey guys, this is Paulo with Meditation Amsterdam. In today's video, I want to explore the topic of how we have a tendency through our mechanisms of repression, especially repression, sometimes projection and overthinking, to hold our self-love hostage to circumstance, and how that is a losing game by definition. So I often like to use a kind of, it's a bit of a quip in which I like pointing out the irony of how the ego is always trying to figure out what are the conditions that need to be met so that we can feel unconditional love. And when phrased that way, you see the irony, of course. You see the entire game is given away. This notion that certain boxes need to be ticked for unconditional love to be felt. Whereas the obvious principle behind unconditional love is that it is there regardless of the conditions. And this is something that we are, in a sense, entrained to forget, and the entrainment might not even be malicious in its intent. Very often our parents will try to educate or train out of us certain tendencies that on a practical level are annoying or perhaps unhandy. And our mind will generalize those into entire modes of being which are to be hidden from view or denied in ourselves. So that, for example, if we are a very loud child and we're being a nuisance in a restaurant and we're told to keep quiet and shut up, that we will, depending on the tone or the recurrence of the event, misinterpret it as I ought not to be ever loud because that is punished. Harmony and love will be withdrawn, and I'll be prevented from feeling love from my significant others and my caregivers if I behave loudly. And by that, once the mind catches on to that and makes a big generalization out of it, then that is translated into I ought not to be a loud person. And whenever I feel myself wanting to be loud or having been loud, I will punish myself in the future for that. I will self-police, and my self-policing will often take the form of self-shaming. Right? I will feel guilty. I will feel shame about being or having been loud in this example. And by doing that, I will withhold the acceptance of myself, my self-love. And once that is missing, once that little piece of us, once that the acceptance of one of our facets or one of our traits or proclivities, whatever we want to call it, is once it becomes denied, we will begin to hate that trait in other people. That's what we can call projection. And we will do so blindly because we are repressing that trait in ourselves. But we will also be seeking for something. We will be seeking for either a way to become more quiet, right? To entrain ourselves to be more quiet, or to, sort of try to somehow improve our persona, that these tendencies may not arise, and thereby the guilt and the shame and the rest of it. So once we start to repress that, project it onto other people, and either hate on them or, interestingly enough, be attracted to someone who's loud. That's the other thing, of course, is we hate it on others, but we are also inexorably attracted to those who unabashedly show that trait in a way that is not a problem to them, right? So that we may feel a certain type of hateful attraction to those things that we feel are missing inside or that we cannot express. But rather than how this projection mechanism plays out, what I wanted to emphasize in this video is how once the repression is in place, we feel that something is missing, and we go out into the world to try to find it, and how those attempts will be already tainted by the sense of lack that we feel. And it's a sense of lack that cannot be fulfilled by obtaining something from the outside world or by changing ourselves into being a different way, because the attempts, whether internal, as in transform myself, or external, change the world or obtain something from the world, are all springing from a sense of lack and a withholding of self-acceptance and love, which is what we're trying to get. And so in a way, it's a great irony that we become our own sort of self-policing agent, and we learn to hold our self-love hostage to meeting conditions that we've been taught and that we have generalized into conditions without which we can't allow ourselves to simply be okay. Very often, the expression that this takes is, I don't know if I should be more of this or if I should be more of that. I don't know if I should change my job or stay in the one that I currently have. I don't know if I should take on this partner or not, leave a partner or stay with them, right? So a certain kind of duality or a certain kind of impossible choice arises from parts of us that are denied. And these are clear indications that we are, in essence, outsourcing the problem of self-acceptance to outcomes that now have become all important and which present lose-lose situations, or situations in which terrible compromise is always somehow involved. And they are lose-lose, and the compromise is terrible because that which we seek to get has already been lost from the get-go, which is self-acceptance. And so we keep holding that self-love hostage to outcomes which we either don't control, or neither of which presents the ideal resolution, because we're going to miss out on something. There's going to be FOMO, fear of missing out. And what would you be missing out on? Well, the self-acceptance that you are trying to maximize, but you're trying to, you're withholding it from yourself until you meet conditions in the external world, or until you manage to somehow self-engineer into something that you're not. So the message, in a sense, and I might be exploring different angles to this same general message, is that a big part of what we're trying to learn is to learn to hold acceptance of what we are, and to be kind to our imperfection, so that we don't play a losing game in trying to obtain that from the outside. It is the loving kindness towards our imperfections that is missing in the first place. And our imperfections are difficult to love because we believe that they expose us to being rejected. But just think of this for a moment, and I'll leave with this parting thought. What is the problem with being rejected by the world if you've already rejected yourself before you even get there? So that big rejection that you fear has already happened. And because it's already happened, you're already afraid and you already feel rejected. And from that place, we start to project then scenarios and like, oh, something bad is going to happen and they won't love me anymore, or I'm going to do this and I'll feel lonely about it, or I'll feel entrapped and whatever. When in reality, you are already feeling that because you've already rejected yourself. And this projection onto a future that is scary, or onto significant others or scenarios in the world that are scary, are simply projections of a mind into scenarios that herald pain, when in reality the pain is already being felt right now. But you don't dare feel that pain, because it would mean that you would need to turn around and go, oh, I am abandoning something that I feel it is shameful. I'm abandoning something that I feel will make me appear in a light in which people will put me down, or you name it. And therefore I'll put myself down first. I'll abandon that part of myself first. And from there on, I'll go into trying to find this mysterious God knows what out there that will finally deliver on the unconditional love that I so crave for. So we are holding our self-love hostage to circumstances that we have been entrained or led to believe must be met. And the exercise is to love regardless, is to go, you know what, I don't know if I'll leave that partner or not. I don't know if I will obtain or get together with that partner or not. I don't know if I will make that certain step in life. I don't know if I will ever really tame or remove this tendency of mine to act in this way or another. But I hereby make a conscious choice to go, I will love myself regardless. You know, I'll just, because the choice is to abandon myself. And then the battle, even if I win all the battles, the war is lost anyway. You could win all the battles in your life and lose the war, because you could obtain everything you set out to obtain, re-engineer yourself into a monk mode stoic who fasts for days on end and whatever. But so long as that kernel of self-rejection is still there, nothing has been won. You've to gain the world and lose yourself, as the Bible would teach us, right? So the message here is to learn how not to withhold love from yourself based on circumstance, but to choose to love yourself even at your worst, because because that's the very encounter that you long for. That's the very acceptance that you long for, and that's the very rejection that you fear, which is already taking place, of course, is that self-abandonment that comes from only agreeing to love yourself if you perform well, or if things pan out well, or if you make the right decision, whatever that is a losing game. Curious to hear what you guys make of this one. I'll make it relatively short today, and I'll be back with more videos pretty soon. If you think this is worth liking, sharing, and subscribing, I invite you to do so. Thanks for listening so far. Cheerio, and bye-bye.